This time around I'm making both of Junkrat's traps. That's the bear trap and the percussion mine. Now basically with these I'm going to be using Eva Foam cut-offs, which are just the edging strips that came with mine. Again, they just end up being the right size for what I need, and of course they go together like that for the bear trap, so they're pretty much exactly what I need. So there you go. And then the larger surface area bits I'm going to be making out of foam core, and that's just because I have it, really. I'm going to start with the percussion mine. Now I've worked it out to be about 36 centimeters in diameter for the mine, which ends up being about that big. Again, it may be a little bit smaller, maybe a bit bigger, but the exact scaling in game was quite difficult to do. But with that scaling, it works out that each layer of the mine going up is about 2 centimeters, which fortunately, with these teeth cut off, is the depth of that. So I can literally just use these straight up, and I can just stick 2 of them together, and I've got the size of the mine. So they're pretty much perfect for it. For the indented section, I'm just going to stick some of these teeth that I've cut off just on the back by there. Now again, I'm going to leave about 5mm gap just for the base plate to go on, which I'm going to draw on afterwards anyway. But then I can just stick one of these inside, just straight up, then it'll do the indented section, and then again just make a top ring and stick the same thing and do the same again. Then that'll build it up across the outside of the mine. And for the angle bits, I'm intending to cut a long strip and hopefully be able to bend it. If not, I'll have to cut a circle and bend it, but it's probably going to have to be a circle of around 36 centimeters diameter circle, the centre cut out, and then bevel the edges and stick it down so it all sticks upwards, and then do the centre circle, probably with the remainder of the inside of that bit of foam, because using too much, well, this is the bottom of the mine. As you can see, it's got a good ring to it, and on the inside, as I said, I literally just put little tabs onto 2 of the rings and then put one around the centre. Again, you can see through it at this point. If you really want to, you can try to fill that gap with anything really. You just put more of these little bits around the edges just so you don't see it, and you can just make it a solid edge, because these are designed to slot together. So you just go around like that and make it a solid edge. But again, I'm not going to bother doing that because you are unlikely to see the fact that's it. Damn it, Mum! Okay. Now, again, once it's all together, it's all going to be dark inside, and I mean you can just see the gaps like that. Which those are some of the bigger ones that I was showing there. But again, if you want to cover it up, feel free. I'm not going to for this, but again, if you have enough of these little bits cut off, and all I did to make it like this was literally cut the teeth off, and then I got strips which are the same size and makes a good ring. So now I'll do the base plate first, because I'm going to put it on the card and draw around the inside and stick it just in, just to give it some rigidity. This is mine so far. Now the bottom of it, as I said, just been filled in. And this is one solid piece of Eva Foam. I've cut the centre out, and I used the heat gun and just curved it by hand while it was warm, and then just hold it till it cools down and it gains a curve like that. Now this tape is, when I'm sticking with the hot glue, it takes some time to dry and I am lazy, so instead of waiting for it to dry like a good person, I just sort of dot it around and then tape over that area just to hold it in place so I can carry on. Again, I've got it on the bottom, so once that's done, I'm going to add a little bit in here just so it's got a bit of a drop, and cut that out so it's a bit neater. Then I'm going to cut it in so there's a little bit of a drop before the actual trigger section in the centre, that's going to end up being the trigger plate, which is going to sit in there like that, but with a little dip in between. because then it looks more like a separate item. If in this case you want it to slide out, you would have to make a circle that, okay, you'd have to make a circle of foam or something else that fits in there, and then just put a little ring on the outside before you put this on. So before you put this top layer on, make a cylinder that goes down like that and put a little lip on the outside, and then if it's cut a little bit smaller than the hole, it'll then fall out and the lip will stop it. But that's only if you want to do that. I'm just going to make it look like it moves instead of actually having it, but that's how to do it if you want. Now, essentially what I've done this, put that little bit inside to create the dip, and this bit on top. Again, I've just put little like tabs on the side coming out, and then on the inside just so it'll stick. Again, that's quite delicate, and you can see the holes, but if you want to, you know, get in the hole like that. But if you want to fill them in, making it properly, you can, but again, and that is just two little rectangles of foam with a bit of pipe coming out of it. I happen to have the pipe handy to use as the wire, but it doesn't matter that much. So that's the percussion mine. Okay, now I'm going to start off with the, I can only call it a bear trap. I don't know what they call it in game. I haven't looked it up. But for that, I'm going to get these things again, which is just the edges. This is one I've clearly messed with before because I can't get it apart. But it's again just two of them. Okay, two of them are actually complete. Now I have so many of these finished because I've just been working on my power armor, and you get loads of them. What I'm going to do is, fortunately, these are the length that I want for the end once you cut off the little bit to make them all even length. So what I'm going to do is put little tacks of glue in between there, in between each tooth to hold them in place, so when they bend they don't split out like that. Again, it makes it look better. Then I'm going to do an outer layer of that. Then I'm going to use a single layer like that for the teeth. Again, stick them together, then cut the teeth into them for the inside. And then through the centre, I'm going to make a cross out of these that goes across, that is 30 centimetres I worked out to be, which is that ruler. So essentially it's going to end up as such for the trap. It's just that on the other side as well. Then once I've got that cross, I'm going to cover it over with craft foam, which I have on the floor behind me, and then I'm just going to make it look like a circle so it looks less squarey, so you can hold it at the centre. And then I've just got to decide how to do the eyes, but I'll tell you how to do that when we get closer, because I will have. I've now stuck these two bits together. As such, these are going to be the jaws of the trap. Now I'm going to need a hinge across the centre. Now I've already cut somewhere on this table. I have the length that I need for the centre. I've lost it somewhere, but it'll come back. But I'm going to cut, it's about 30 millimeters diameter, and I'm going to use these, which are hole saws. Now these are designed to go, well, yeah, these are designed to be put on a drill, but again, they're quite awkward to use on Eva Foam, so if you've got a better way of making a circle, I would suggest you use it. But this is the way I'm accustomed to doing it, so. Again, this is a 35mm hole saw I'm putting through. If you do this by hand like I'm doing, be careful with your fingers, you don't want to get them caught, because that would be bad. And just, you know, be careful. But in the end, you end up with that circle cut out, and this circle that fits in through it. Now when you make the cross beam going across the centre, or I may just remake that or one solid piece, I don't know. But when you get your centre section, you stick these two on the end and then put a bigger one on the end of that, and it'll act as a hinge, allowing it to rotate like such. And that's how I do my joints on my armour as well, when I need to do a hinge. So I'm just going to do that, one on each end of that, one on each end of that. Then I'm going to stick 35mm double block out, and then probably the next step is 44, which I'm then going to stick on the outside just to make sure they don't fall off. And then I have a hinged trap. My traps have come back from painting. Again, these ones have been plasti dipped because of the foam. Paint doesn't react too well to the Eva Foam if you don't dip them, so I got two of this. Then after that I've just done an undercoat. You can see some of the grey lines where I've had it on the washing lines, and then just silver on top. So now that's done, I'm going to start painting them. Now in this case I'm going to be using house paint again. Again, I've got loads of it, so I'm just trying to use it all up. You can use other types, pretty much any type of paint, in my experience, but yeah. So hopefully we'll be back once these are painted. Again, I'm going to be painting them by the reference pictures, so... My traps have now been painted. I've done the final little bits of detail. Well, I've done the major detailing on them. This in-game is just yellow. Did some black on. I can only assume it's supposed to be eye stalks on the black main body. It does move. It has some motion to it. A little more loose than I love, but what I'd say is if you want to make it properly without all the teeth, because you can see in there a little bit, at least on camera a little bit, that it's got the sections where they're joined, where the two bits I used to join. If you don't want to have that going through the middle, you can choose not to and just use one solid piece. There's not a problem with that. And so that's what I can only call a bear trap, it essentially is. Now as for the mine, this here, I've painted the normal face on top, who is surprisingly happy for being dead. And I've left this bit silver, just saying it's supposed to be metal to be fair. But again, it's just some green paint around there. Paint that silver, paint that yellow, red ring around there. And the bottom is still silver. So again, I've painted the pipe a bit black as well, just so it looks, well, more like a wire as it's supposed to. And that's my traps. That's my build for Junkrat's traps. Well,